This podcast is brought to you by Brown and Whitworth. That's all I got for you today. Fuck it. Brown and Whitworth Foundation. You're not allowed in. Hey, listen, you fat shits and you fat shitettes. You guys need to stop letting yourself go. You're all probably married now. And the best gift you could give to your spouse is getting in amazing shape. That's right. Taking care of yourself so your spouse doesn't have to take care of you is one of the best gifts you can. It's honestly one of the best gifts you could give to yourself. Working out with Captain Cranberry at 10-8 personal training will not only make your body look sexier, but it'll also make you live longer, longevity. And as we know, and as we get older, we know that time is our most valuable resource. So instead of shoving all the processed food in your face and sitting around watching another episode of The Bachelor on Netflix, why don't you get your do-nothing ass up and do something with Captain Cranberry? First session's free. All you got to do is drive on out to his personal studio, state-of-the-art. Give him a call, 951-445-3133. Take advantage of your free session right now. No strings attached. You could tell him to go fuck himself after. 951-445-3133. Or you could get him at 10-8personaltraining@yahoo.com. Hey, all you fat shits and fat shitettes. Not only is looking good important and staying alive, but your house longevity is super important. Roof and foundation are everything. And one of the first things to destroy your roof is bad gutters. Clogged gutters, bad gutters, falling gutters, not level gutters. These things are destroying your roof, and they're destroying your roof fast. Now, if you're too lazy to get up there and clean it, I got a man for you to call. But it might not just be a cleanliness thing. These things got to be level and functioning properly so you could save the longevity of your roof, which saves the longevity of your house. So if you're having roof troubles, gutter troubles, roof and gutter troubles, all sorts of these two things combined, give my man, Tony Mullins, a call at Affordable Roofing. That number is 423-593-9605. He is the Captain Cranberry of roofing. 423-593-9605. Give him a call. Best man in the business. And he gets the job done better than anyone else. Speaking of the best man for the job, we got him on the podcast today. Welcome to the Militia MMA podcast. I'm pretty sure this is episode 23, 24. There's a lost episode. Nick Vikes. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hey. Well, I'm happy to be here finally. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, it's about time. I was like, who in the morning crew did I forget? And I was like, Jesus, Tony. Forgot Tony. How you doing, Tony?
Well, you did a good job of keeping my name out there without me ever being here, though, already.
Landon didn't realize you were Tony from Affordable Roofing. He's like, this is just Jiu-Jitsu Strong Tony. And then there's Affordable Roofing Tony. He didn't realize they were the same person.
Oh.
So does climbing stuff get you strong? Like, do you feel like you get an extra strength from climbing and being on top of roofs and stuff?
Yeah. I hadn't thought about the climbing as much. Yeah, but that is a big thing. Climbing just straight up and down like the steep roofs. I don't have to do that as much anymore. But just going up and down the ladder constantly, does your legs a lot. And walking up a hill all day,
Yes.
When you even if it's not one that's so steep that you have to use boards or nothing, you're just walking up the hill all day. Of course, I might only spend an hour or two walking up the hill now.
Yeah,
every once in a while.
You figured it out how to work yourself out.
Well, I just
A
got
little bit.
I just got some younger guys that can, got less wear and tear, and they can do it, longer.
That's how I feel about like MMA now. I kind of feel that. I was like, I'm now the brain, and my students are my bodies now. I just gotta put the brain into their bodies and make sure they do it right.
Yeah, it took me a while to adjust to that because I thought I could do it so good, and I would, I always thinking about what I could do instead of what they could do sometimes. But
Were you in the beginning? I've always struggled with this. You always try to do too much, like everything. Like you gotta have to do everything.
yeah, and it's hard, in a business. It's hard to grow like that if you try to do everything yourself. But I guess I was kind of control freak or something. I don't know.
I guess me too. I got that a little bit, and it's sometimes I think with business wise, it's good to write stuff down and figure out where you could kind of web what a person would do and their responsibilities. I've been trying to get better at that.
Yeah, I think you're doing a pretty good job. I think y'all are doing a great job over here running this place.
Hey, thank you. So, Tony, where are you originally from?
I've lived here in Chattanooga since I'm 14 years old, but I'm originally from Harriman, Tennessee.
Where's that?
And it's like about 80 miles north, straight up 27, so it's 2 counties away. You go through like around here, Soddy Daisy, Dayton, a couple more little towns.
Okay, is that by Spencer?
No, that's
That's like north
127 or something.
Okay.
This is just regular 27. You keep going straight, and you would run into Oak Ridge, Tennessee. If you kept going straight that way, you could run into it. It's like 40 miles from Knoxville. It's right out in the country, but it's straight up from here. It's 80 miles from Chattanooga, 40 miles from Knoxville, kind of in between.
Is it real rural living?
Well, there's a little town there, so it wasn't a city, but it was still rural. It's still country all out around there. There's a little town in this country for miles and miles everywhere else.
So did most people?
Maybe 6,000 people lived in the town.
Okay, so that's pretty big. Was it as like because Ringgold's was like 6,000, right? Is Ringgold small, or maybe that's just?
It depends on what they measure. They annex and they've changed it. From what's downtown and stuff. I think Ringgold's a lot bigger than that now.
Yeah,
The
I guess
population,
it makes population.
the little town part ain't, but they've annexed a lot.
So was it? I guess everything's kind of measured by counties. Was it like 6,000 in your county?
No, it's 6,000 in that town, and
Oh,
maybe
okay.
the town. There's three towns like Harriman, Rockwood, Kingston, Tennessee. It had like they were all about the same size, 7,000 or 8,000 people, something like that.
Now, what did your parents do when you were growing up?
They just worked down there in Harriman. My dad, he was already retired. He was a little bit older than my mother. He retired young. He had worked out in ironworking.
Wow.
And then he'd retired from that.
So he was real strong too.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah, my dad was I think he was 40 when I was born, a little bit older. Yeah, so my dad was older too. Did you guys live on property or just a normal house or apartment?
We had a house with land and everything.
Any animals?
Garden and all that. And all we had was just dogs and cats and stuff like that. I had a couple of dogs and cats, but we had a big garden. Whenever I was younger, we moved afterwards. The house actually burnt, and then after that we moved to several different places. My dad had got sick after that. He got lung cancer, and he died pretty young when I was like 7.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was due from his work. Somehow he breathed in all this stuff and got I don't know if it was that. I don't know what it was.
Maybe
back
asbestos? Did he do?
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Or he maybe even shaving. Was he a smoker? Because most people were smokers back then.
Yeah, I think he was. I think he smoked too, but I think it was the work that got him.
Yeah.
They were iron workers, and I think he worked in plants as like did boiler work and stuff like that too inside sometimes.
Yeah, it seems like the older
around
plant
asbestos.
workers, even like in like food plants and production plants, the factory worker in production 80 years ago, they didn't live as long because no one knew stuff back then that they know now.
Yeah, they didn't. They couldn't treat you like they can now neither. I mean, from the time they had it was like 2 years and he died.
Oh man,
pretty fast.
What about your mom?
She did good. She passed away also a little later when I was about 24 years old. She was in a car wreck and hurt her leg and she ended up lost her leg as an amputee from
Gangrene?
that. Not exactly. She just kept having infections, and they went back and they fused her ankle at one time, and it was a long process. It went on for about 5 years, and then they took her leg from her, like her knee down, and she was all right for I don't know about 10 years, and she got heavier, and then she contracted meningitis, spinal meningitis somehow. Yeah, and don't know how it happened.
So you've been a man on your own for almost more than half your life, huh? About half your life?
Yeah. It happened kind of quick.
What did you go to high school or anything?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I went when I was in Harriman. Then when I moved down here, I quit going to school after we'd come to Chattanooga.
Did you just get into working?
Yeah, I did, and the schools were different. It was kind of rough neighborhoods, and it was different than what I was used to. But I went to work. I acted like I was going to school, and I got. You could get a job back then easily. You know, my uncle he can't get in trouble now, so it don't matter.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So anyway, he had roofing jobs and other remodeling jobs and stuff like that, and so I would just go over and help him. When I was like 14, 15 years old, and that's how I got started.
Okay, so when you grew up, you didn't really play any sports, did you, or anything?
Not whenever I was young, like 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
From 8 to 12, I played baseball and football. Both.
Yeah, the standard.
I played basketball 1 year, but when I was young, I was kind of fat.
Okay,
and I
figured you were pretty athletic growing up.
Well, I was, and then I started getting out of shape though. But I got to the basketball when I got about 13 or 14. I started. I don't know. I was kind of athletic till I was 12, and then I got 13, 14. I started staying at home.
Having too much sweet tea.
Yeah. But I played basketball for about a month, and then I couldn't hack that. It was too much running.
Too much.
Too much running.
So, you got into roofing in high school. At 14, 15?
Yeah, and then I left and went. Didn't do it for a little while when I was 16 or 17. I went to went and took classes and got a GED.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't supposed to be able to get it, but I got it anyway.
That's impressive. To
So
go
I
out on your own and do it and not follow the grain of society is impressive. And then to get it done, you graduated high school when most kids graduate at 18 or 17. It's impressive, Tony.
Yeah. But I didn't do nothing with that. I went back to when I got about 18, 19. I mean, I learned, but I went back to the roofing.
Okay.
Because it was easy. You're 18 or 19 years old. It's hard to find a job that pays as much like that,
What was
as in
like a starting salary?
So this is 1991. And just the laborers, he would get paid. They'd get paid $6 or $7 an hour. Don't have to know nothing.
And what was minimum wage back then was like $4.
$3.35.
Yeah. Because
it went up when Bill Clinton became president. Went up to like $4.25.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember when I started working at Burger King at 14. I think our minimum wage was $5.25 in New Jersey, so it probably was $1 less around here. And
I was cheaper here a little bit.
Yeah, wow, isn't that crazy? So $7 was that was big back then.
Yeah.
Anything over $5 was big back then.
Yes, sir. And then, so I just piddled with that, till I was about 21. I worked, for different people like that. And then I tried to, find a different job and just trying to decide what I was going to do from the time I was 20 to 21. And I couldn't find nothing else that I really wanted to do, so I had a brother-in-law, and he did roofing. So I went and worked with them, and I started learning how to do it. So then I got paid even more, so I learned how to do something besides just being the grunt labor.
Yeah, the grunt, carry this, pick up that, clean up this.
The only thing that would happen, those guys, they would make all the money, because it was their job, just a couple of them, and they would only want one laborer or two laborers over there to carry all the shingles and do all this stuff, and then, they might make $500 a piece that day,
Wow.
And then they won't work for another 3 or 4 days. Because they done made, $1,000 in 2 days, and you made $120, which was good then, or
for a day's
$200,
labor.
yeah. But so that's how I got started on my own. whenever I went and bought a truck because they didn't work enough, and I started telling people I was the roofer. I get the job, and I went and tear off the roof, and then I hired them and paid them to come over. I still had to pay them, high, more than what I was, but I was making more money.
Yes, you were being better to the employees because you were one, and you worked your way up.
Well, they kind of took advantage of me. They made me pay because they know that I couldn't do the whole job by myself then, but I had the job, so so it was easy for them. And then over the years, I had to learn how to start doing it, on my own because they were not reliable.
So you just bought a truck, and then you were like, if they're not taking the job, I'm gonna take the job.
Yeah. Well, also, I just started looking for them. I had rented a house from this guy, and he said he needed a roof, and I told him I was a roofer, not the labor,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I got the job and figured out what to charge, and went over and tore the roof off, carried stuff up, and called them, and then they come over and nailed the shingles on there.
And then that's how it
started. Yeah, little by little, and and then they would lay out, and I would be stuck with a whole job to do, and so
on your own.
That was the beginnings. And then my first year, a big hailstorm came, so it picked up real quick up there in Oak Ridge. It just happened to it. It just came out of nowhere, and so you wasn't really having to sell nothing. You just had to show up, because the insurance was paying it.
Okay, so they needed to get roofs on fast.
Yeah.
So anytime
So my first year was one of the best years.
So yeah, it couldn't have came at a better time, right?
Right.
So anytime there's a natural disaster, it's a good thing for you.
No. I mean, like a tornado tears everything down. That's not that good, for us. That's good for remodelers or somebody who's building, they build a whole house back. But roofer, he wants like a hailstorm.
You need
where it tears up the, just the shingles and the gutters, but don't, destroy the whole house.
Okay, now we had in New Jersey there was a small tornado, and it tore the roof off of a place. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Not the big tornadoes, just enough to rip the can off.
Yeah, you don't want nothing like the hurricane just hitting Florida, where it just demolishes everything.
That's not doing you any favors. It's helping Daniel James, the contractor of
Florida. They're doing the whole jobs.
And then some people probably from Georgia and Alabama shoot down and get work, right?
Right,
Is that usually what happens?
Yeah, that's what happens. They shot in here a couple of times, yeah. I'd never seen it happen but, since we've had a lot of storms here in the last 10, 12 years. It started in 2011.
Rain's good for you, right?
4 storms. Yeah, rain.
Rain's good. Now I got a question. What's better, the metal roof or the shingle roof?
It just different house. It's different scenarios, There's no one better than the other.
Okay. Now, do metal roofs make your building hotter?
They're supposed to make it, generally they make it cooler,
Really?
Yeah, especially if they have reflective colors now, so.
Oh, because I heard solar panels make a building hot. Because it absorbs the sun, and then it make these things get hot, and they're on top of your building.
Yeah. Probably. I hadn't researched it. I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't even
or
had
like
nobody
shipping
ask me.
container homes.
Yeah.
I heard they get hot.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing that now, huh? Shipping container homes. I see it on TV a lot.
I wonder if you put like some sort of reflective, like a flat black or something, or a white.
Yeah. Maybe all 17 colors they have down here where I buy my metal at, they're all supposed to be reflective and get a energy rating where you can get a tax deduction and all that stuff. I don't know exactly how you have to file it, but as long as you use the Energy Star colors, you can get a tax reduction. I don't know how big it is or nothing, but anything you can save.
Wow. So with the metal roofs, we're going to talk roofing a little bit. We don't see a lot of them in New Jersey. Most of it's shingle. Now, if I understand correctly, a metal roof needs 10-year maintenance every 10 years because of the screws.
Well, they've got new screws now.
And are they good?
They say they're lifetime. They say,
But they're not 10 years old yet, right?
They're not 10 years old yet. They've had them for 3 or 4 years. They just came out with them, and they have a real big head that covers the washer. Used to, the washers were kind of exposed with the old screws.
Yes.
The head of the washer is bigger. So now the screw comes down like an umbrella and covers the washer. So
Okay.
it's supposed to protect the head of the screw like that, and they're supposed to last a lifetime. They cost twice as much, but screws are not, they're the most least expensive part of the job, I think, in metal.
Yeah, now there are also, since precious metals have coming up, have it metal roofs and shingle roofs are the same price now?
Metal roofs are more expensive now.
Now, and they used
Yeah.
to be the cheaper route, right? In the beginning?
Well, it's went up and down. When metal roofs first started getting popular around here, I think maybe in 2000, people started putting them on, and they were more expensive. And then 2005 or something, they started going down, and they were down, to like 2012, and now 2015, now they went back up. Whenever Trump was president, they started talking about the steel and all that, they went up then, and they never came back down.
Huh. So it was all pre-COVID, before even COVID was.
Yeah,
a
it was
thing.
before COVID. They had went up. They went up. Maybe they went up more since then.
Yeah, because everything's like, hey, our money's not as good. Let's buy metal, and building supplies are up.
And in the past, they've went back down. After when things slow down, but not
Nothing's
this
going
time.
down yet. It seems like, huh?
No.
What about shingle roofs? So, what's some of the issues that, or some of the maintenance work you guys should be doing? Our listeners should be doing with their roofs.
Well, the number one thing, like you said, is the gutters. That's probably one of the biggest calls I get for leaks. I go out there and the gutters are just packed full of leaves, pine cones, whatever, stuffed up. They're not draining.
Because once it blocks, the weight then shifts the level, the curve that's supposed to gently let the water go out now is curved the other way.
Right. It can clog the spout up. It can make it curve the wrong way, like you're saying. Water. Some houses where the gutters are, where the roof meets the gutter, it's the code, but a lot of people around here don't do it. You're supposed to put a drip edge on there, a flashing that comes from the roof deck down to the fascia board,
Okay.
right above the gutter, and so water can't run in between there.
Okay.
Sometimes there's gaps between the fascia and the
And then that's when you're gonna get the wall separating from the house and water.
yeah,
coming
water
in.
runs in between there, and if the gutters are full and they ain't draining, then it's a problem. If the gutters ain't full, it's not that big of a problem, unless you just
Because
get
that's weight.
heavy rain.
Water's
yeah,
heavy.
Yeah, and as it stays clogged up, then it starts pulling away from the house because it's heavy, and all that. Then pipe boots sticking up out of the house.
Okay.
The pipe boots on top of the roof. They generally only last 7 to 10 years in the shingles. Supposed
What
to
is
last
that?
25
those,
to 30
those
years.
cylinders, right? There's those like cylinders, right? That's the pipe boot.
So you got pipes coming out to let the smell out of the bathroom or whatever. And gas vents.
Oh, okay.
And so
Or the
boots,
vent fan for the on the microwave above the hood for the hood of the stove. Okay.
So the ones with a pipe, they have little collars. They call them boots that slide down on top of them, and most of them are made out of PVC plastic now, and they have a ring around them that goes around the pipe, and that ring wears out in 7 to 10 years. The shingles last 25, 30 years, so people they have to get those replaced, before the roof.
What are some of the signs? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What are some of the signs that you need to start doing the maintenance, or is it you start seeing like I said in one of your ads, the Holy Mary on the ceiling?
Oh yeah. If you see any brown or any, and sometimes you might not see it for a while. It sucks, if it's in a closet or something like that, and you have a leak. But usually, if you have a leak, you'll see brown coming through it, somewhere. And if you see that, there's water. There's something that's causing that. You shouldn't ignore it.
No, because it's.
And people do that a lot. They ignore it until it's so bad, and then sometimes their ceiling will fall in even.
You don't want a 4,000 job to be a $40,000
Right.
job or more.
And also, once it gets to that point, if they've had insulation, it means it's been leaking for a while. Usually, by the time you get to stain, because it's had to work through the insulation and everything. So
you got saturated insulation,
Yeah.
probably ruined the sheetrock too, huh?
it just depends. You have to get there and find out. As quick as you can get to it if you see it. And a lot of times, if it ain't dripping or something, people don't think it's that big of a problem, but it is. That's what's coming next.
Water water arguably, it could take anything out. Tsunamis are the worst natural disaster. Everything is water, so anything that's got a seal or something, water gets in. I remember my old ragtop convertible Hated water. Found a way. Always found a way to get in that Corvette.
Yeah, my truck, it has has sun windows, sunroof and top, and I don't get no water inside the truck, but in the passenger door, I heard a while back, I could hear squishing sound.
Oh.
And so water gets down inside the metal frame and gets behind the door and stuck right there.
And then it's gonna ruin your. Hopefully,
Well,
you
it's got a drain.
roll-ups.
I found it has a drain valve, little thing you can drain it out with. So I just tuck it off and leave it off all the time, and that filled up.
It's just cleaning the truck.
When I was driving
back.
down the road and I would hear water, squishing. I'm like, what the hell is this? It took me a while before I figured it out.
Where it's coming from.
Because I never seen none.
So, if, for our listeners, do you is there anything that they should do yearly, or to look? Should they be up in their attics once a year to look to see during a storm to see if it's water's coming in?
If they have access to their attic where they can really get up there and see. A lot of attics you don't want nobody to get up there and fall through the insulation or nothing. But yeah, they do. You do need to inspect the gutters, look out there, and make sure that when it's raining, water's coming out of the downspout. They ain't even got to go up on top. I can see if water's coming out of their downspout or not,
Okay.
And then just stand back and take a look. If you see little raises in the shingles, that's where nails are backing out or popped up. That's popped up nails usually. You can tell if you see anything flopping up there or anything bent back it ain't supposed to be, then you've got something needs addressed, whether it's a backed up nail or broken shingle, or sometimes the shingles will, the wind will raise them up and they'll lay back down, but the seal is broke too. After a real big heavy storm. So if you ever have a question, it's best just to call somebody out there, call a roofer, or insurance company to come out there and look at it. And
it's also a roof should be like flat for the most part, right? There shouldn't be a little dip or anything.
Right. And every once in a while, houses with old plank style deckings, real old homes, they'll have settling and they'll have a little bit of waves like that.
And that's not a huge issue?
That's not a huge issue. But when you see real divots in it and stuff, that's when it's an issue. Like you got plywood that's dipped in between the rafters, and it,
as long as there's not. Okay, so it should almost, if it's an old style, it almost look like ribs.
Yeah.
And then it might curve in like your ribs, but it's not the hugest deal.
Yeah, because those old houses were, a lot of them were built with individual boards, where some of these others were built with trusses, just a big piece of roof, and they set it up there. And them old houses, some of them, like if you get in a house, a lot of these houses, even in East Ridge.
Very old.
Yeah, and they're built with rough cut lumber, and it's a different size. 2x6 was really 2x6, 2x4 was really 2x4.
Okay.
The 1x decking, they'll have plank decking, and they were really one inch thick. Now they're 3/4.
Okay. Are older houses stronger?
I think they are.
So you're not going wrong buying an older house.
Well, they could have a lot. They could have more maintenance. There's pluses and
you could end up with like paper wires.
Yeah, you just got to really inspect
paper insulation in the wires.
Yeah,
that's happened to Kyle. Remember Kyle Purple Belt?
Yeah,
he bought a house and then they found out all the insulation is paper wires because it was old.
Wow.
And that sounds like an incomprehensible headache.
There's so many things that you could overlook when buying a home, especially the older the home is. Especially
here, it's like people are allowed to, especially 100 years ago, build houses without code.
It's true. North Georgia, they've only been doing codes for the last 15 years, 16 years.
And not all of them are doing code, right? There's some rural spots where they're not.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them where there's just nobody out there to inspect. Even if they have a code, there's no local
We haven't had the fire
municipality
inspector show up yet for ours. I called him twice, and then he never came by, never returned my call.
Yeah, you seem like there'd be. Well, there's a lot of building going on around here, maybe.
Yeah, you see, we have no max capacity sign because he never came in.
East Ridge is really moving, ain't it? They're doing
is.
stuff all the time.
I didn't know this. It was until I moved here. Well, I came out, I checked the area, and I said, I want to be on Ringgold Road. I was like, after doing a little bit of a tour, I stayed out for 4 days, looked at a bunch of property. So I feel like I could pull from Ringgold, which is a nice city. I was like, this is a really nice little city. And I could also pull from up north, so Ringgold Road made sense to me. I didn't realize it was Eastridge, and it was the most densely populated city in Tennessee.
I didn't know that, but yeah, it makes sense now.
It makes sense. I mean, like, you look at the behind us, there's just buildings on top of buildings on hills. You know what I mean?
And they've built a lot recently.
Yeah, I hear they're, like, splitting lots now where, you know, it could be 0.1 of an acre, 0.15 or something.
Wow. Centrally located too. It's a good location.
This Ringgold Road's I got very lucky choosing this location.
It used to be the side road when you didn't want to go down Brainerd Road though to get, you know, but not no more. The traffic, you know.
Oh, Brainerd's got the worst traffic.
Yeah, but East Ridge is catching up now.
It is. It is a little bit. I feel like also if you take some of these back roads to Georgia, if you just make like a left going to Georgia or right going to Georgia, they're narrow and I feel like I'm in a different country. Like I'm in like Costa Rica or something.
Yeah, it's just right there. It changes fast, don't it?
Yeah, all these curves you can't even see. Like there's no vision. It just seems like they built them during the Civil War and that's the way they're gonna be.
It's true.
So
yeah,
oh, sorry, go on.
I was going to say they didn't have to have contractor license there to 2005, I think, you know, in the state of Georgia. Used to builders, I mean, maybe electricians stuff then, but they didn't. If they had credit, you know, if they could, you know, build the place and secure the loans, that's all it took.
Just build.
And all those people, they got grandfathered in who were already in there. Now, you know, they have to go take a real test and do all that kind of stuff like they do in other states.
Yeah, but...
So they're a little bit behind on a lot of stuff. Maybe they're starting to catch up.
I think so. It's really coming up. Unfortunately, we're seeing some Starbucks pop up. We could do without them. Sorry, Bobby. But what I do like about this city, it's one of the only... I'm probably a parrot saying this, but it's small town America still. Like, you could do all your shopping on Ringgold Road. And so I could essentially just own my business on Ringgold Road, live in Eastridge, do all my shopping on this road, and...
Not have to leave here.
Not have to leave here. Yep. And most of America is just Walmart, Rent-A-Center, Target, Olive Garden, Applebee's, and then subdivided house division of tract homes. That's all new America.
Yeah. I hadn't really looked at. I know this was convenient here, but I hadn't thought about it that way. Over here on Ringgold Road.
Yeah, Dalton's kind of like that. Ringgold's like that. But 90% of America is just
not like that.
Is Walmart, Target, tract homes, and because you know they're just cutting in the woods and making new cities.
Yeah, there's a lot of places. I remember there wasn't nothing there, and now all the woods is gone and it's concrete everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure you've seen this place get built up.
All the way from where I said I'm from, Harriman, 80 miles here, they used to only be a 2-lane highway there, you know, Highway 27 2-lane. And then I watched it grow, you know, when it took them 20 years to build the 4-lane from there to here. All the way to out, I think it gets to where 153 starts.
Oh, wow.
153 and 27 intersect. And from there all the way, that 80 miles earlier used to be 2-way, and so they built and built.
Your city that you probably were born or grew up in probably is pretty populated now, too. Probably grew up, right?
I know they're selling that in that county. You know, the Tennessee River goes right through there, and I know they're selling water lots and stuff. Things that was out country when I was there, and I was looking online the other day, and I seen where they went over there and cut a bunch of stuff out and made it into a subdivision. They were still pretty good sized lots, so they were like acre lots, you know, on the water.
What are they going for?
Oh man, they're up there.
They're up there.
Golly. They're in the hundreds just for the lot, you know.
Wow, for an acre. That's crazy. You think it's going to go down with these interest rates?
I don't know. Yeah, it'll have to go down a little bit.
A little bit. I heard a big part of this is we got it's gig city, you know, with the internet. So anybody who has to work remote, if they're going to move somewhere, they're going to move somewhere with good internet.
Yeah, Chattanooga's got some things going with it, with the Volkswagen and the gig city and stuff that probably helped it make it through that first recession we had a little bit easier. That's right when Volkswagen was coming here. It was rough here, but wasn't as rough as I heard other parts of the country being.
I think California, they're paying close to $7 a gallon, or maybe a little bit more. You may get paid more, but it's like hit that with the taxes and everything. You know, somebody here might be making more livable money with 52,000 opposed to 200,000, just because the prices of house, prices of goods, prices of gas, it all gets out of hand.
Yeah, I moved to when I was doing that, whenever I was deciding what I was doing in roofing, when I was about 20, before I started back on my own, I moved to Nashville from here, and I made like $5 more an hour. I went out there and worked for this roofing company. I was going to work for the union before I went back to working for myself. But it was less money than what I was making here because the cost of living was so much higher. Just in Nashville, Chattanooga.
And this was before Nashville became L.A. and New York.
Yeah, it was already high, though.
Yeah.
The cost of living. But, yeah, it wasn't popular like it's, L.A., New York is, like it is now.
Nashville's a party city. You know, it's actually funny. Coach John's got a couple that moved out from California, and they moved to Nashville, and they said they like Chattanooga much, much better.
Yeah, I don't really like Nashville. I went down there a couple of times, but I don't know. I just don't like it. I went down on some concerts and stuff like that. It's hard to get around.
The grappling's better here.
Oh yeah,
really is. Nashville, I think. They got a good MMA school, but Michael Chandler opened a gym. They're a little bit more striker-esque up in Nashville, but they don't have any wrestling up in that, like Nashville, Southern Kentucky area, so they lack. And we're like this little niche wrestling hub here. We were even talking about this earlier.
This place is full of wrestlers, huh?
Yeah.
How many? I don't even know.
I mean, I'm a wrestler, and
Yeah.
then all these, they're showing up, and I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, wrestling-esque style, MMA style, and I've been very fortunate. You build it, they'll come sort of thing. Because they got this D1 school. Chattanooga UTC is D1 wrestling. That's so cool.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that till I heard you talking to George about that time. I didn't know.
That's how he came out here.
Yeah, I heard that, and I didn't know UTC was so big on wrestling like that.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were that good.
Yeah, right. You wouldn't think that. So yeah, they'll pull some of the kids from Georgia, and Cody was App State.
What happened to him? Is
he started a wrestling club with his brother. He says he wants to still pursue this, so hopefully once they get their business off the ground.
Okay.
That he'll come back and continue because he had a lot of potential. We got that other wrestler who comes in at night from Alpha Male. I don't know if you met him. He's a little guy. You might have met him. He came in the morning.
Oh, I think I seen him one time.
Yeah,
I heard you talking to him.
Good. He's tough.
But I didn't see him no more.
What got you into jiu-jitsu?
Well, I was looking for probably a striking one or something different, and my wife went on a Groupon and got me a thing over here at this place, and so I went over there.
You started at Kyoto. No, I don't care if you mention them.
Yeah, I went over.
I still wear. I have one of their. Gis I wear.
I remember that you had their gi. So she got me the Groupon, and I went over there for a free class, and then just went from there and signed up. And,
you're like, I kind of like this.
Yeah.
You're like, it's ain't punching, but it'll do. They had Taekwondo though, right?
Yeah, but they didn't have it there. They they teach another class at 7-Day Adventist or something. Everything was difficult about it.
Yeah, was it all done in the building?
Yeah, the jiu-jitsu wasn't. And for a while they had two different buildings that you would roll in. They had one that people would go to the no-gi. Like they had two buildings leased. There were a few blocks from each other. I don't know what the purpose was, but
I'm kind of so. I don't want to stray off topic, but I really like my building. I really like my landlord. But if we get too big, I'm going to tell him hey, can we take that building all the way down to use for storage and then just mat it? And this will be this part will do the administration and have class, and we could have class B or run off on it.
Hey, that'd work.
That might be an idea. But then you don't know if you're going to pay 2 utilities, 2 deposits, because it's, not next door.
Yeah.
You never know with those things. But I may have to go that option too. But you said they were
I think what it was is they had a real good deal on the one building. It's kind of older building, and then they got one out on the main road to for business.
Daniel said they were doing 2 schools.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. One was on Lee Highway, right on the main road, and then they had, I think, the other one. And as they growed, they probably just got that and didn't let go of the.
Yeah, he said they were
one.
using one to fund the other, and it was a big. Daniel said it was a big nightmare for them.
Yeah, it seemed like they had it together for a while, and then after the COVID, I think they had a lot of kids, and then that really they shut down when the COVID came.
So you want to know what's funny? In California, where we were from, they shut down for a month, but we still ran pro practice, and then I still ran a practice with all the high-level grapplers too. So we'd have a morning and a night practice. Coach Smile and Sam was actually the first athlete ever to compete in an event during COVID. He was the first fight on the first UFC, and UFC was the first to do the card. So Sam and his opponent were the first guys ever. Were the first to continue doing sports. If you don't count Chael Sonnen's underground grappling event that he ran in a silo. But, after a month, and I was like, no, we're opening the doors and fuck it. And then the cops would pull in and wave to us every morning. And so we were all very anti-COVID.
That's amazing that y'all were able to keep on going, with that way everything they said was shut down in California. So
well, it wasn't the big cities, San Diego,
okay,
L.A., but Temecula is a right wing city. Marietta's got 100,000 people. Temecula's got 100,000 people. They call it just Temecula as one. Pat's from there too. The mayor's like, listen, I'm a business owner. I own 6 haircutting studios. I'm going to let the people do what they need to do to survive. And then the Riverside police chief said, there is no way I'm going to arrest anybody, because it's Riverside County, which is a big county. There is no way I'm going to arrest anybody making their livelihood, especially after our governor let out all these violent criminals. And then that was just kind of it. The police chief spoke out. The mayor, our local mayor, spoke out. And then he sent some racist text, and then he got blown up. Then he got kicked out of office. But we were still able. Everybody was like, "Fuck COVID," in where we were in California. So that was cool, and I think I kept still trying to look at buildings here during it, and nobody was answering my call. But as soon as I got here, I didn't put a sign on the door. We were fuck COVID for the beginning. One of my favorite selling points was saying, "Hey, it's like 2019 in here."
Yeah, I seen when you first opened up. I seen the signs, and then I kept going to stop. I never stopped until Daniel said that he told me one time that he had stopped in here. And that's before he had became a member yet, but he said he stopped in there the first time. Then he come back talking good about it again the second time, and so I said, I'll have to. He said, meet me over here at Militia, because I was meeting him to get a check, And so he brought me on in here and introduced me to y'all.
And you're like, all right, let's give this a shot.
Yeah. And this is like night and day. I just like it so much better than I'm not down another place. I just like it so much better,
What do you like better about it? Don't talk. I'm not asking you to talk negative about the other part.
Yeah.
But I always want to know what I'm doing right or what I could be doing better in the same way.
Well, first of all, I like your time. The time that you had it is better. I like
The morning.
The morning.
Get it done.
Morning class, get it done, and just you explain. Instead of a lot of times people just tell you do this, do that. And you don't know why. And I want to know why. Some people they don't want to know why. They just follow directions. But me, I want to know why. On everything. Maybe too much. I probably get on people's nerves. I'll ask them why you do this, why you do that. But you explain the why, what the purpose is, whenever you're doing a movement, and you explain what could happen if you do it wrong and all that kind of stuff. Instead of just, you do it,
Do these arm bars.
Yeah.
Not like, all right, these knees got to be tight. This one foot's got to go over the head because this is the key where you pull it down. Or,
yeah. Like you walk around and you say, make sure you pinch your knees, the detail. That's it. The detail that you got is really great. You know.
Thank you.
And it's starting to follow everybody else. You know, they're all the people that you're teaching. You know, it's
I've been
rubbing off on them.
noticing everybody's been getting a lot better, whether it's striking, grappling, and wrestling. It's a very rewarding feeling.
And just the vibe, it's a little more laid back. You know, it felt a little too traditional. You know, the other place I went to just.
It's funny you say that. So, they were probably under some traditional. Guy was Brazilian, maybe.
Yeah.
So he probably went under traditional lineage. I've had so I started with a wrestler that started with a fight team. So everything started from there. We never did gi. We never bowed in. There was no bowing before we hit the mat. But we got to work. One of the guys eventually became the UFC champion, Frankie Edgar. But we were just a bunch. I was a wrestler who came in. I said, "Oh, where's Frankie fighting?" Because we used to wrestle at the same off-season place. He's just 4 years older. So he'd come in from college, beat me up, and I said, "Oh, I see he's fighting. Where's he fighting?" So we went there. It was just a fight gym. Strikers showed up, wrestlers showed up, grapplers, ex-cons, and we were just a bunch of tough guys. And that was like the first 2 or 3 years of it. Then I went to a traditional school. Guy was Kurt Pellegrino, amazing at jiu-jitsu, but a little more traditional. And I was like, bowing before you hit the mat's a little gay. This is doesn't make sense to me. Like, they say respect the mat. I said, the only way to respect the mat is cleaning the mat.
Yeah.
That's respect the mat, respect your partners, and respect the person.
It's true.
And then when I became a brown belt, I went to checkmat. Then checkmat ended up opening a gym 2 miles down the road from Dan to try to put him out of business and left me behind. So we talk about respect and all these cult things, and are you going to be respectful as a person in life, or are we just going to just put on the song and dance and pretend to be respectful?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. People are funny like that. And, you know, in one area they'll be so respectful like that. In the other area they'll be just total.
Yeah, like all these people don't realize, like all these old Brazilian guys who are lineage, they're street cats, and like, you know, they'll hit on somebody's wife, they'll groom a young lady. It's been around, or you know, it's happened, and that's not cool. And also, it's not. I don't leave here, I'm Sensei Tom. I leave here and I'm just some guy getting mad about the stuff on the side of the road, you know, the construction.
Well, you don't think it's only your thing. I think some of those guys think it, you know, their nationality, that it's their thing, you know. Brazilian jiu-jitsu, maybe.
Yeah, you're right.
Not all of them, but I think a lot of them think it's their thing, and it just being Brazilian make you better. I don't know.
Yeah, or like, that you're second degree Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt from Brazil, so everybody in Walmart should fucking bow to you.
Yeah.
No, you're going to get you deserve the same bad customer service that everyone else gets.
This is true.
Because at the end of the day, I know I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make an ass of myself at some point throughout the day, or do something stupid, or do something good. It's just being a silly person.
Yeah, a lot of people just take themselves too serious, don't they?
They haven't been humbled enough. I've gotten my ass beat on some of the biggest stages in the world. And I think that helps me, like, not take myself so seriously. Because there was times
being on national TV and or pay-per-view and all that stuff.
I never made it to pay-per-view.
It wasn't Ultimate Fighter. It was on Fox or something.
Yeah, Fox Sports Net at the time.
But that's big there, Fox.
I was on Showtime, too, when I was with M1. And, you know, just as well as I've done amazing things I've also gotten my ass beat on TV and looked like an amateur. It's easy come, easy go. It's balance of life. If you're doing it right. And also, I think a lot of that is insecurity. Too, right?
Yeah. Just well, I guess older people can have it too, but you know, the younger you are, the people they just want to prove themselves.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Definitely. If there's an outsider who comes in here and rolls, there's definitely like, hey, I want to submit the UFC veteran, and I want to submit Tom. There's always like I always got to be in shape because there's going to be always someone coming from my head that's not my teammate.
Yeah, and that's another thing that you don't see. Some of those guys in some of these places, they couldn't that are teaching, and they got some belt or whatever, but they don't look like they could handle some of the purple belts I see come over here. You know, I don't know. I don't
Or
understand
George
it.
shit.
Yeah.
You know? It's also like we were talking about competing and stuff. I think it's the good thing about competing, it kind of gives you real life nerves. And you don't want to know if this stuff works or doesn't work when you're getting attacked. That's what I think the beauty of competition is, because it's the best thing that's going to release animal instincts. You can find out if this shit works or not, and what you would do when stress is elevated. Not you're on a nice blue and black mat. You're hearing the good funk. Coach Tom's joking around. It's different, high stress. So I think that's important. I think that's why competition is important. And I think as an instructor, if you don't roll, you're hiding something.
Yeah, like, you know, maybe if you're 80. Well, I don't know.
If you're old and injured, it's different.
Yeah.
But
I've seen the young ones like what you're saying, and I wonder. You see them. I seen. You know, I didn't go to a lot of places, but I went. You know, one time or, you know, and watch, and do the technique, and they don't roll. Don't roll with nobody.
And it's
tell
not
everybody
because
how
of
to
an
roll,
injury.
but don't roll with nobody. Yeah, not related with injury, so I don't know.
That's
or not a major injury.
Yeah. I think a lot of guys
don't feel good.
I think or even the fat black belt. If you got a black belt, I don't think you should be fat.
I hear you.
Like Pat's older. Pat's 60. He's not fat.
Mm-mm. No, he's in good shape. He's in good shape for his age.
He lifts too every day. You lift too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not as much as I was as I come here. I am in the week, but I've had to change it a little bit coming in here because I stay sore all the time. Yeah. Well, I'm 3 to 4 now. I was 5 days every day.
Yes.
But I get too tired, so I'm trying to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And sometimes I go on Saturday. Sometimes I don't.
And you're lifting in between, huh?
No, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
You lift.
I lift. Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday I come here.
Okay.
And then on Saturday I lift sometimes too, yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't see you Saturday for open.
Yeah, but maybe I need to come
It's
Monday
fun.
or Wednesday, one day with the gi.
It's,
'Cause
Monday I do the gi.
I haven't been to the gi in 3 months.
Wednesdays, John does it, and it's a little bit more teaching than rolling. But he does teach some of the traditional gi stuff with a little less wrestlery. Reminds me back in my old checkmat days.
Yeah, I kind of got used to not wearing the gi. I'll say it's been 3 or 4 months. I've only been to.
The good thing about no gi is everything you could do in no gi, you could do in gi.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the opposite. I think no gi helps gi more than gi helps no gi.
Oh yeah, because you're not able to reach. Then you're able to reach up there and grab something a lot easier.
Slow it down.
Yeah.
Unless we're talking about like submission defense or something along the lines of that, because then it's a little bit tighter in the gi. So if you could get out of it in the gi, you could get out of it without the gi when you're slippery and wet and slimy.
But like you were talking about earlier today in the class about the inch by inch and stuff, it seems like that game is more like that with the gi. You know, it's more slow and step by step. It is out here with the wrestling style too, but it's it's more fast. Seems
It
fast.
can be. You got to
most of the
learn
time.
how to turn that, like pinching the knees to slow it down, controlling the hips. Because when I still grapple no-gi, I'm still moving inch by inch.
Oh yeah, you are.
Like even like when I'm going for the back, I'm creeping my fingers up like a spider to reach that shoulder blade on somebody. And then when they go here, maybe when they're going up top, I'll adjust the bottom then. I'll adjust my legs while they're attacking my hands. And then once they start attacking that, I go back to the hands. So it's chess in that way too, but you also got to be strong and athletic too. And you also got to have a good understanding of physics. So we could keep weight on people.
Yeah, I've been learning how important that is. I never even noticed that till I came here. I heard make yourself heavy and all that, but it didn't show how.
Or understanding the theory or the concepts about it. One of the things I think that really helped me explain things to people was about a month ago. I was seeing everybody in bad positions to start with, like not a perfect side control, not a perfect home base, and I was like, made me realize we're only as good as our starting position. So we're like, I'm broken record with this. We're only as good as our starting half guard is, how tight our knees is, so that we can isolate limbs. But if we have a sloppy half guard, a sloppy side control, a sloppy mount, it's going to be something that's cut through, and we're not going to be able to do our submissions. So I've been very much preaching like initial position is the foundation.
Position
over submission.
Yeah, I've seen it a little bit now. I've been trying to do that too. That you can just kind of follow them from one. If one don't work, wait, see which way the guy goes. So catch him with another one. You know, if you got good position, if you can't get to and wait on a submission, I used to just go right for it as soon as I could. You know.
Now you know to move to your position. You've actually gotten a lot better with your grappling. How long have you been doing it for, Tony?
Well, I came
here.
2
years at the other gym?
Yeah, but it wasn't 2 years worth of time. You know, it's probably 6 months worth of time because I didn't hardly go. I had the membership, but I was paid in full for ahead of time, so I was there for the 2.5, 3 years.
Okay.
But I probably went to 30 classes and 40 classes in 3 years. You know.
I'm sure you're underselling it, but you've been here about a year and a half now.
No, but yeah, I've been here. I think a year. But I came a lot here.
Yeah, you've been here. You're in a lot of classes here.
Yeah, I've been trying to.
Very regular.
In the winter, I was able to come more, but then I got bit. I got that dog bite this winter, and it slowed me down.
That's right. You're a dog lover, huh?
Yes, sir.
What about cats?
They're all right. I don't have one now. I had one, and my dog, he ran off when the dog came about 5 years ago. I had a cat. I'd had him for a couple years, and he didn't like the dog, and he left. The cat left, and it was gone for like a month. And it came back. Middle of the night. Then it left again. Never seen it. Fred. I miss old Fred. That was his name.
Fred probably survived and lived a full life because cats will just adapt.
I see some looks like little Freds in the neighborhood, and he must not have went too far. I don't know. I've seen some other ones that look like
some of his offspring. There's a cat in my apartment building that will go if. Like you're walking your dog, it'll go walk up to the dogs and hang out if the dogs aren't crazy. And then it took him there was somebody had to put a cat outside and it took the cat in. It's crazy. Cats are crazy.
Huh? You have a dog too, don't you?
We got 2 dogs and a cat that decided it wanted to live with us. Showed up on the front step on my way to this gym. And then it was like, I'm going inside your house. And it was almost like, it's like, Steph, handle this, and then we ended up keeping it.
Well, that's how I found Fred. I'd moved into this place, and he was already there, hanging out. You know, and he thought it was his house.
Yeah, cats are like that.
Yeah.
I prefer dogs over cats, but I like all animals, and I think that's what's kind of cool about cats.
Yeah, and I have pit bulls now, 2 of them. I never had a dog like that before, and they're just babies.
They're
big. I mean, you know, they bark at people like bicycles and stuff like that. Some things to get them going, but they don't go after them. It's sometimes, but they're babies. They like it, especially the male, the big one. He looks like he would be mean, you know, and stocky and muscled up and everything. And it tries to be a lap dog.
They say the fighting dogs are the small ones. Because they're just like quick.
Yeah, they're the one. You know, you'll hear them. They'll bark all the time, and they'll look up at a dog twice its size. You know, them little dogs, and
they're like walking a machine gun.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, it was great having you on the podcast.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to finally be on here.
Let's give a shout out to your business. When should we be calling you, Tony?
Anytime, before it rains, after it rains. Better off to call before it rains.
Anytime you see a problem with the gutter?
Problem with the gutter, problem with the roof, anything, tree falls on there, whatever.
Give my man Tony a call. Tony, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
Guys, that's it. This is the Militia MMA podcast. give my man Tony a call and get your roof fixed.